Hello everyone. Welcome. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Today we're going to do another dice roll. I'm going to pick a mini, get it painted up. We're going to use Red Grass Games version 2 Studio and put that to the test some more and work on that, and maybe down the line I'll give you a nice full-on review of what I think of it and see where that goes. But let's get to this dice rolling and see what we pick today. So we're looking at 1926. Okay, bag 26. We have, here is the base. We have a Draugar from ArtisanGuild. Just got a shield. And 2 swords. I don't know if I'm going to go with a shield and a sword or 2 swords. But let's get everything ready and paint it up and move on. I'm going to start off with Reaper's Stormy Gray for the base coat on all of the stone. Now we're dry brushing Stormy Gray and Cloudy Gray from Reaper. Using straight Cloudy Gray, dry brushing all of the flat surfaces of the stone. Dry brushing a 50-50 mix of Cloudy Gray and Misty Gray, we hit all of the highest points of the stone. Now dry brushing straight Misty Gray, we hit all the edges of the stone. Here we're using Reaper's Stone Wash to get into the recesses and darken them up a little bit. Then dabbing with a tissue to get a lot of the high points pulled back, and then a damp brush to pull the high points back even more. Using Game Color Foul Green, I use 60% water to water it down. That way it'll flow into the grooves of the runic carvings. Adding a little Game Color Off-White to the foul green to brighten up the recessed runic carvings. Game Color Gory Red is what I'm using for a base coat on the upper rocks to achieve a somewhat of a brick look. A 50-50 mix of Gory Red and Bloody Red all over the stone is what I used here. Moving on to a straight Bloody Red. Mixing Bloody Red and Hot Orange, I dry brush the edges of the stone. Here I take Game Color Black and paint the edge of the base. Moving on to the Draugar skin, I use Army Painter Fur Brown for a base coat on the skin. Mixing the Army Painter Fur Brown and Game Color Dead Flesh, I go over all the skin, leaving the deepest recesses fur brown. First skin highlight, use straight dead flesh from Game Color
to highlight all of the high points on the skin. Using game color black, I paint the inside of the mouth and the eye recesses. Mixing dead flesh and off-white from game color, I highlight the higher points of the skin. Moving on to the skin recesses, I use Army Painter's Crusted Sore to add a little bit of a blood and gory effect to the deepest parts of the skin. When you look inside, do you see your own? Let's flow now with all those pretty little things you buy and all those frowns. Moving on to the leg wraps and wrist wraps, I use Army Painter Mummy Robes. Over the wraps, I use Citadel Seraphim Sepia to make the wraps look dirty. Going back with Mummy Robes, I edge highlight all of the wraps.
That you've been put to shame. When will you deal? Open your eyes, or was the head?
The metal armor I base coat with game color black and metal medium. Now for the metal highlights, I take game color chainmail silver and dry brush all the highest points of the metal. Leather brown from Reaper is used as a base coat on the horns. Mixing Reaper's earth brown and leather brown, I paint 3/4 of the horn. Using just earth brown, I paint about half of the length of the horn. Mixing earth brown and muddy brown, I paint about 1/4 of the horn. Using straight muddy brown, I hit just the tips to darken up the tips of the horns. Mixing charred brown and muddy brown, I darken the very tip of the horn. Moving on to the fabric, I use Alien Purple as an undercoat for all of the fabric pieces. Mixing Alien Purple and Deep Blue, I go all over the fabric except for the recesses and shadow spots. Now using just deep blue, I hit most of the highest points on the fabric. Mixing deep blue and crystal blue, I hit the really highlight points that I want to brighten up on the fabric. Using just crystal blue, I highlight the parts that the light will hit the most and some of the edges. Mixing crystal blue and off-white, I highlight the edges and the highest high points on every piece of fabric. Now using Reaper's Harvest Brown, I undercoat all of the leather belts and straps. Now jump into Reaper's Orange Brown. I highlight all of the leather belts and straps. Now back to Gory Red. I base coat the accessories hanging off the belt. Now I'm highlighting those bits with Bloody Red. Now just a touch of hot orange for the highest points. Now moving on to the shield, I used Army Painter's Oak Brown for a base coat on the wood. Dry brushing a little fur brown on the wood. Now bringing the brightness up on the wood a little bit more with Monster Brown. Then I had to go back and do the inside of the shield because I forgot to do it as I was doing the front. Back to mixing black with a metal medium. I do all the metal parts of the shield as a base coat. Now I dry brush chainmail silver all over the metal parts on the shield. Then we move to some rusting effects with Game Effects Dry Rust and Game Air Orange Rust on top. Moving to the leather strap on the back. For the sword I used chainmail silver and then I rusted over like I did with the shield. But that's pretty much the end of it, and thanks for coming. Hope you liked the video, and if you want to see more, subscribe so you know when my videos come out. Thank you.